All right, we should be live. Can you hear me all right? I wonder. Let me know if you can hear me or if you can't. We have Gary Rose already here. T-minus 6 minutes and waiting. He's been here for a little bit. Got a couple people on here already. Welcome to the Kingdom of Bunjie. I have my Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee ready to get the day going here. This is a different kind of live stream, and I'm hoping it's going to work out okay. I'm going to flip the camera around here if I can figure out how to do that real quick and show you what we're looking at. This is my view this morning, looking out across at the targets. I got 2 targets set up, one at 10, one at 20 yards. Probably later today I'll stretch out to 30 and 40 yards just to finish this job, assuming it's going to work. We don't know if it's going to work. This is a sort of a little bit of a test. Claude Musel, good morning to you. And isn't that neat? We got people, I have never seen that name on here that I recall. I haven't spoken with you before from what I can tell, at least not under that username. That's neat to hear. So presumably you guys can hear me okay. And we have Moose Junction Hunters, so we do have some familiar faces as well. Great to see. Great to see you're getting out in the outdoors. They're catching a lot of fish too, by the way. Thanks for sharing that with us on the Death by Bunjie group page. So without further ado, we're going to get busted right into this thing. I'm going to try and reconfigure my little tripod here, and we'll see if that's going to work for us. I sort of gave you some feedback there, what we're looking at this morning, and hopefully this is going to go pretty smooth. I'm pretty excited about it. I've never done this before. Welcome to the first ever Death by Bunjie string and shoot, I guess is what I called it. I'm going to restring the crossbow here, getting ready for our upcoming meet and greet, which is where a handful of us are going to go to the Tioga Boar Preserve over in Tioga County, PA next weekend, and hopefully come back with a whole bunch of meat for the freezer and some crossbows and arrows all shined up, broadheads all shined up for the upcoming crossbow season. This is an important part of getting ready for crossbow season, of course, getting your crossbows sighted in and all that good stuff. Now, I'm going to start with you. The reason I'm doing this is I got a question, which I thought was a great question, one I hadn't really specifically addressed before, from Vendetta Grazi. Okay, hope I'm pronouncing that right. But how long crossbow strings usually last? How long do they usually last? And it depends, okay, right? That's the answer to everything. It depends. And I know that's a cop-out answer, but it is what it is. I can only talk from my own experience. You guys with compound crossbows, you're going to have to go to a shop and do this stuff. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. The string should be lasting you an entire season with proper maintenance. To make your string last and get proper maintenance, 2 things that we're going to do that I already have done. I'm not going to do this again today, but I do have my serving wax, which Excalibur calls serving wax, but this is what I put on the string. And I've already put wax on the new string, and I'll talk about that when I bring that string out. But you're going to do that. You're also going to use rail lube every time you shoot, right at the beginning of your shot process or whatever your manufacturer recommends. The other thing I've already done, I'm not going to do on this live stream, is I've gone through with my Allen wrenches. I keep them all in this little bag, and I've gone through with my Allen wrenches. I've already gone through and cleaned up and tightened up all the different bolts, right? I tightened down the scope a little bit. Each little screw needed one little tweak, one little, you know, some people use Loctite for that. That's a good idea. I should do that. I just don't. But you're going to go through and you're going to tighten that all up. So that stuff's already been done. I won't be doing that today. But I am going to grab the crossbow here. Got it right here. You recognize this, do you? You recognize this guy, do you? This is Bunjie, and we are here to make this work today. So I got this out of here. This thing is so big, it acts as a tree and it gives me shade. Can you see that? Look how it's just, somebody remarked recently when I was doing one of those videos about cocking your crossbow in a tree stand, and about how it was just like this giant, how big it was, and it was kind of surprising how big it was. But really the reason we're here, I want to show you this part, okay, and I hope the camera will pick it up. I don't know that. Maybe we got to shade it a little bit, I don't know. But if you could see that string, maybe you'll have to take my word for it, but that string, that serving right there on that rail, is a little bit worn out. And it's worn out enough that it needs, for the upcoming season, it still shoots great, still shoots accurate, no problem with that. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to replace the string, take the string off, put on a different string. I have 2 strings. I'll explain that in just a second here. But might as well explain it now, right? Why not explain it now? This is the strings that I keep. This crossbow came with a different string. Now this is just the packaging and the paperwork from the original strings that I bought, the first Flemish Dynaflight string. And you can see here it says Flemish Dynaflight string for mag tip limbs only, made in USA. And I noticed down here at the bottom it says Fabrique au USA. So it's actually written in French that it's made in the USA. Why? Because this is a Canadian product. But it's from Ontario. It's not from Montreal. It's not from Quebec. I don't know why they go out of their way to put, I think probably in Canada you got to put French on everything. I don't know. Who knows? But either way they did. But this is the original package that this string, or one just like it, came in. Okay, this is the twisted string. It's got black and it's got a solid color black, solid color gray twisted together. And it's just a style of string, right? That's that Flemish style string. Goes all the way out and whatnot. The string that came on it, I'll pull that out of here so you can see it, and I keep it for backup. And I have, in fact, and I had this question once from someone asked me, have you ever really had to change the string on the road before? Does it matter that you can do that? Once. Now this is going to my 10th season. You're going to hear that on every video probably now, because I'm so proud of that. You're going to hear that on every video going through this season. This is my 10th season with Bunjie. You're going to get so tired of it probably. But one time when I was in Maryland, it was acting up on me. I was nervous about it. It didn't look right. The string was not properly seating well and didn't look right. So I actually took that string off and replaced it. This is before I had the other string. But this string has been reserved too. But this is the original string. It's green, as you can see. Pretty cool little string. And Poughkeepsie, New York, Yaking Patent is on here. That's pretty cool. Yakking Patent, sorry. That's right. I remember how to pronounce that. But this string is just twists, right? It's all one color, one set of strings, and it's got the serving in the middle, of course, and the two loops. And you put that on there. Works great. But I keep it as a backup. Now, this string does not produce the same amount of energy, speed, that sort of thing. Because of that, I bought these upgraded strings. And I have one right here that I'm going to put on. And that is this little dude, right? It's identical to the one that's on there, but it has a fresh serving, brand new fresh serving, unused serving. Hopefully you can see that. You can see that there's no wear on there. When I get this bad boy off of there, we will do it. But I just keep them like this. They look terrible because they're all wound up and stuff, and it'll be a little bit of a hassle getting it the right length. I'll have to recock it a couple of times and fix that, but not a problem. It works pretty well. I just saw my coffee there calling to me. So what we are going to do next is we are going to get this bad boy all set up. Now I can take off the cocking rope. I will not need that, so we'll get that out of there first. I will not need to cock this at this point, so we can get that off of there. I store that on the crossbow because I decock the crossbow when I'm done, and when I am done I just leave it on there. Okay, so that way I never lose it. I've always got it handy. I am going to, the process that I do too, just so you know, I'll put this fresh string on with a fresh serving, and then what I'm going to do, I am going to take that string to the shop and get that serving replaced. And by the time the hunting season rolls around, by the time I go to Maryland for white-tailed deer in September, I will have a fresh string ready to go and a fresh string on the crossbow. With proper rail lube, this string should last me all season. So really, to get back to the original question, how long should your crossbow string last? Pretty much all season with proper use. Now it depends. If you're shooting every day, you're shooting a whole bunch, which I don't shoot the crossbow every day. That's too much for me, and it kind of wears out your crossbow. For crossbows, once they're sighted in and shooting well, the occasional shot in the yard to have some fun or whatever is not a bad idea, but constant use of your crossbow is going to make it less accurate in my experience. It's going to, from what I've read, now I haven't experienced that personally with this crossbow, but overuse of the crossbow, it's not like a compound bow where they can repeat and you got to shoot 100 arrows a day and all that kind of stuff, and you're just better off if you do. With a crossbow, a lot of shots, it's going to wear that out, man. There's a lot of energy going on in these. Now, with newer crossbows, they are more accustomed to this, right? But with this old crossbow, if I shot this every day all the time, it'd be worn out. It is got some mileage on it, right? But it's standing up to the test of time very well. And I'm putting out another video or two here during Crossbow Appreciation Month about why I love this crossbow and why I still use it and why I'm not currently looking to upgrade. So, look your string over and all that good stuff. The other thing I did, I don't think I mentioned this to you. The other thing I did, yeah, I did. I mentioned this. I went through and I tightened up all the bolts last night. Tightened up the scope bolts and the limbs up here. One year I did have a problem with the crossbow. It was dumping every third or fourth arrow right off the end of the barrel. It was just dropping them right off, and they weren't hitting the target or anything. And that was a problem. actually they were hitting the target. It did hit the target, but they were skipping across the ground to get there. What it turned out that was is one of my limbs was loose. So you got to watch that, man. That's like, essentially, that's dry firing the crossbow. You really got to watch that. So, greetings from the Caribbean to Shad Island guy. That's pretty cool. We got people from the Caribbean watching this. Poughkeepsie, New York. Got people from out in the Midwest, all over the place. That's awesome. I hope you're going to get something out of this. So I want to get cracking on this because before the sun gets so it heats up and everything else, and I didn't take into account the sun would be right there in my eye. So I'm going to be shooting into the sun. That's great, but it should work okay. I'm going to, first things first, get this string off of there, and we're also going to have to take these little string stars, right? They're part of the quieting gear that I put on, did videos about that last year. I'm going to have to take them off and put them on the new string as I'm installing it, which isn't a big deal, not a big problem. It doesn't require tools or anything like that. So let's get this uncocked. What I'm going to do, and hopefully you'll be able to hear me while I do this, and I'll adjust the screen if I need to. I'm going to step back over here, and we have back, I'll show you this. I have this little doodad right here. I keep it in a bag, like I keep everything in a little baggie, but that way I can see what's in there, and it keeps it all handy. But this is the cocking and de-stringer, the stringer, crossbow stringer. But essentially, this is what you are, this is like you're serving, right? But this is what I'm going to cock the crossbow with, and hopefully it's set to the right length. It hasn't reset itself here or anything like that, so hopefully it'll go a lot quicker. When you got to tinker with it, it can be a big old pain. So what we're going to do, get it where we can see it. Hopefully you can see me here, and I can't see that screen, but here's the crossbow. These little things just go over the ends. That's what I do, okay? And you guys that have compound crossbows can't do any of this stuff, so it's really, hopefully you still enjoy this video. I don't know. And I'm not saying this is a reason to buy a recurve crossbow. I'm not saying that at all, but it is pretty handy. At least I know what I'm doing here, so I feel pretty comfortable with it. But I put the one on there, one on there, right? Then we got this in the middle, and we're just going to lift it up. And here, this is actually requires more energy than cocking the crossbow does, because you're pulling in the limbs back farther than you are for cocking, and you're not using a rope. Now I could use the rope cocker on this too, by the way, if you had to. No reason why not. So what we're going to do, now that I've got that on here, I might be able to get that string off of there, work it around the ends, and it's going to come right off. Look at that. Sometimes it's a problem. You do not put your fingers in here, right? Don't reach in here. What do they call that? The triangle of danger or something like that. Don't reach in there. That's bad news. So we're going to reach over there and then grab the string, pull it out, and there's my string. Now this I can set off to the side for a second here. And we'll lean that up where it doesn't fall over and hurt itself. All right, I'm back. Those string stars, they got to come out of there, and they are on there tight, man. They are twisted right in there because there's been so much tension on this string. So I got to work them out of there, and it's not a big deal. You're basically just separating the string and popping them out. See, they come right out. But overall, I don't know how much specifically these little guys contribute, but overall, wow, what a nice crossbow this is. In fact, this is probably my biggest reason not to upgrade, is the fact that serving really isn't that bad. But I'll show that to you just so you get the chance to see it. Doesn't look that bad. I mean, that's not the end of the world, right? That serving, that's not completely worn out, but it'll go right in there. I'll probably get a new one put on there. Yeah, can't hurt. Or keep it for a spare, I don't know. Maybe I won't get a new one put on, I don't know. Decide that at a later date. Just the same, it is nice to have a fresh one on, just the same. So we'll get out our new string. And there it is with its fresh serving once again. And what I'm going to do is reinstall those little string stars first. I'm going to open this bad boy up, go about 2 inches out. That's what I had before. I'm going to try and keep it in the same ballpark of what I've been doing. And that way when I put the string back on, it might not be that big a deal. So I'm going to take this little string star and fit that bad boy in there and twist it the way it wants to be twisted. There's little bumps on these string stars that tell you which way they got to go, and they kind of the string kind of goes between those bumps. So I got it that far. Here's the end of the serving, and there's my string star. So let's do the same thing here. go out about the same distance. We'll open this guy up like that. I saw a video with Ted Nugent once, and he actually put his string stars on while his Excalibur crossbow was strung. And I don't recommend doing that, but it can be done. And he used a little plastic tool, very similar to a flathead screwdriver, but it was plastic, so it didn't cut the string or anything like that. And that looks to be about right. They look about even, don't they? Close enough for a state job. I'm a government employee. I probably shouldn't make jokes like that, but how's that? You get a kick out of that, do you? All right, so that's ready. I got that string ready to go, ready to put back on here. And we'll grab this bad boy, bring him back over. And it is still strung nicely, or stretched out there nicely. Now the string, the key is going to be brace height. If I have a similar brace height here, and the string is wound similarly, then when I go to shoot this, it should be pretty close to accurate. Now I can tell right now this string is a little looser than the other string. The other thing I try to do is keep the serving in the middle, and you do that by twisting one end, holding the middle, twisting it that way and shortening up the one end and pulling it in that direction. Right now the serving needs to go this direction considerably. So that tells me that this side is not tight enough, not wound tight enough. So I'm going to pull that off of here, this string, and what I'm going to do is hold the middle, and I am going to twist that bad boy up a little bit and try and pull that serving that direction. The other thing I can do is I can hold it here, and I can unravel it a little bit and take some of the twist out of that side, and it should work. But overall, it needs to be twisted up quite a bit because it feels a lot looser than the other one. So let's do that. That's better. But now for servings, or excuse me, for brace height, I've done other videos on that, but I like a brace height that's a little bit in the middle. I don't go one way or another on that stuff, but I figure if it's in the middle, that makes for a pretty stable shot. It may not get you the most speed, but it makes the most stability, and it will give you the most consistent accuracy over time. I am going to go through the comments, you guys, and catch up with you, because I enjoy that part of the live stream, but I want to make sure we're making progress on this, because if I don't, I'll be sweating again, and it'll be the end of the day before you know it. So, all right, well, I've got it prettied up here. All right, what I did is I got it on both ends, got the string stars in. It looks like it's pretty well in the middle. We've got the stringing device intact, in place, and that's holding it all there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to back up over here. Hopefully you guys can see me. I will lower this a little bit to make sure you can. All right. I can't even see what you're doing here, but I'm going to get back here a little bit. Hopefully you can hear me and you can see me. All I'm doing is I'm firing it, right? I'm going to put it on fire, and then I'm going to brace myself because it's going to put a 175-pound load on my back and my arms right off the bat. I'm going to pull up on it, hit the trigger with my thumb, and kaboom. I can see right now already that I have a problem. Not a big problem. It's not the end of the world, but it's a problem, and it needs to be addressed, and that is that my brace height needs to be come down a little bit. I've got it, and it's touching the bumpers. Don't want it touching the bumpers. We want to pull it back a little bit, and that will just require us to tighten the string. Now, before I put the string on last night, I unraveled that string and went through it with that string wax, and I waxed the whole string. So this string will stretch on me. It will creep on me. It'll creep up the barrel toward the riser, and that's going to be a problem overall. But it's not really a problem. It's just something that needs to be adjusted. So I just need to tighten the string up routinely until that stops doing it. And the reason it's going to do that is because I've added fresh wax to it. Now that fresh wax will serve as protection. It'll mean that that string will last a lot longer. And that's why I have two strings. This string, when you ask the overall question, how long does a crossbow string usually last? These strings, one of these strings I bought in 2011, okay? The green string I showed you, I bought in 2010. So it came with the crossbow. And the other string, the backup, which might be this one, it might be the other one, I've had since probably 2013 or 14, something like that. So they last a long time. It's really the serving that wears out, at least in my experience. And proper maintenance, I re-wax them every time I put them on. but that will cause them to creep a little bit, but it will also reduce fraying and extend the life of the string. So you really don't have to keep buying strings. You need to keep buying servings is what you got to do. That's the problem. So the other thing I can see is my serving needs to go that way a little bit. It's just, I'm picky about that because you want the same amount of tension on the left that you have on the right. That will increase the likelihood that you're going to maintain. It should be easier to sight it in that way. And it's a good point to sort of measure against, because the last one was done that way, so this one should as well. So make sure my stringing device is properly set up the way it was before. Put it on. I'm going to put it on fire so I can cock it. Put it on safety so I can work on it. And we'll set her down here. Alrighty. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull that string off. Again, keep my fingers out of there. What I am going to do is I'm going to turn it around here so I can do it this way. It seems to rest better this way. This side needs to be tightened up. And I'm going to put a few more twists on that end of it and tighten it up. Boom, boom. And the whole string overall needs to be tightened up. So I'm really not even going to loosen the other side. I'm going to see if I can get this as tight as possible and still seat it on the end of those mag tip limbs. And I think I will be able to do that. It looks like that felt good. That was nice and tight and difficult to put on here. So that feels like it was a little bit better. And it looks like it pulled it over a lot too. So maybe that's going to work. I'm about to find out. Same thing, repeating the process. I will be doing this over and over. Just going back, put it on fire, bracing myself, grabbing this, firing it, letting go. Now, it's still against those bumpers, but not terribly. We'll do that, step back, and keep repeating the process. Let's see what we got. We're going to go same end. We'll work that same end a little bit more. Keep twisting her. Keep pulling it over. Put about 2 more loops in there, I guess. 2 more twists. We'll feed it back through and see if I can seat it on the end. Okay, there I tightened it too much, I think, because I don't think I can get it over the mag tip limb. And you don't want to be to the position where you're forcing it. And this is where it gets complicated, because you end up having to take a twist out of that. You have to get to the point where you might get to the point where you have to readjust the cocking device, right? Or tighten that up a little bit. And then you're pulling even more weight over your, every time you go to use the stringer, you're pulling even more weight. So that's a big old pain. You don't want to use a tool or anything hard on this, because you will, if you make these strings less, if you use something hard on there to sort of pry this on, you're really running a risk of weakening the string. And I don't want to do that if I don't have to. You know what I mean? You could fray it and cut one of the little strands or something like that. And every one of those strands contributes to the overall strength of the string. There we go. So really the ideal thing to do is what I should be doing, tightening this up a little bit, these guys, so that when I pull it back, it will pull the limbs back farther and give me a little bit more room to work. But we'll see how this goes. I'm going to do the same thing. Brace yourself. Fire. Boom. Ooh, we're in good shape. We are ready. And I'll take this right off. Comes off just like this. Put that there for now. I'll come back to that. But I'll show you the overall progress that we made. How sweet is that? Look at that. Got the brace height back to 1/8 of an inch from the back, right? That's going to result in, believe it or not, a slower arrow. Did a video on this, and I actually used the chronograph there and speed tester. Tested it, make sure. But it actually does, on this crossbow, slow the crossbow down by having a greater brace height. The shorter brace height, where the string is forward, allows the string to have more contact, longer period of contact with the arrow, and the end result of that is that it can impart more energy. Now, getting ready to shoot, so I'm going to put on a little dab of scorpion venom. I mentioned this before. There's lots of different options for this stuff, and I know for you folks who, a lot of you guys, all I'm going to do, well, this is what I do, and I know other people have different procedures they follow and different recommendations and all that sort of thing, but I just put a dab on here, and I'm just going to lube up that rail a little bit, and by doing this, getting it up under there with the entire path of the string all the way up to the trigger assembly and everything, right? All the way back up in here. There we go. Because that way the string never has that dry contact with the rail. And that's all you want. And it's got a nice sheen on it, nice and shined up, looking good. Next step is to shoot this bad boy. We're going to get the cocking rope out. We're going to cock it. And that is right here. Before we do that, oh, look at that. We got our friend from Germany. Can't believe it. That's great. You guys are on there chatting away, and I'm glad you are. This is what it's all about, man. These little hangouts like this. I enjoy this. The only downside of this, I had to buy a tablet or something. This is working well. Is the audio going good? I'm hoping the audio is working for you guys. We've been doing this for half an hour, and I haven't read all the comments because I got this little tiny phone. And hello to Ohio. We got George from Ohio. That's great. What was I going to say? Oh, I was going to tell you the audio. I tested all this. I actually did a private live stream last night. Same setup, right from here to make sure this was all going to work, and apparently it is. But I can't really see the screen real well, and it would be nice to have a bigger tablet or something, or the laptop. That didn't cut it. Remember that little experience there when I was trying to do that in the basement there in the sun? That was right in there. That did not work out well. This hopefully is going to work out well. So far so good. Hello to Texas, Daniel Garcia. Oh, good, and the audio is good. Well, that's good. And I will try and follow up with the comments. I'll probably go through and read them later on and watch the live stream and comment on them on there if I can. If it'll let me do that, I'll do that inside on the computer. But I'm glad that the Wi-Fi is working. The nobody's out mowing their lawn, ruining the audio or anything like that. So far so good. We're ready to shoot this. It's actually going real smooth. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cock this first. Let's get our cocking rope, and I've already put that in place. I'm going to step back over here, put that on fire, reach down. I'm just going to cock the crossbow. And as a habit, what I do, right to my left pocket so I know where it is for next time, because I am sure I will be cocking away here. Probably be cocking this a few different times this morning. And I have the Caldwell Deadshot Field Pot. I'm going to put that right here. Get it nice and stabilized. And it's backwards. We're going to spin it around. And then I'm going to take a couple shots here. I am able to turn the camera, so bear with me here. We'll get that set up. And I'm going to get an arrow out. What I've done, remember this guy? Remember that arrow? Huh? You've seen this arrow go through more than one deer, I can promise you that. I have a whole pile of arrows, all with Luminox, all the same brand of arrow. They're all close to the same weight. They've all been spun at least as recently as last year, so I know they're still square or whatever, They're still legit. But they all have 100 grain field points. I weighed the field points. They weighed anywhere from 98 something to 101 something. So there's a good range of field points. I'm going to put this arrow in there, make sure it's seated properly. It's a good way to dry fire a crossbow. Some of them won't fire if they aren't seated properly. Those new ones really like some of the safety mechanisms that they have on some of these new crossbows. It's fantastic. I'm going to see if I can do this here. See if we can spin that around. Is that working all right? Okay, yeah. Now what I've done, I want you to know what I've done here, okay? We're going to start on that little 10-yard target. Can you see that guy? Man, I can't. I hope you can. But there's the 10-yard target, the one on the left there. The one further out in the shade, that is the 20-yard job. And hopefully you'll be able to see this go. But I'm starting on a 10-yard. When I sight in, when I haven't shot it in a while, I'm going to start on a 10-yard target just to make sure that if this thing is completely off, completely out of whack, that I'm not losing an arrow over the bank and down in the creek or whatever, right? I want to say 10 yards is just a good safety measure. So if I'm pretty close on 10 yards, I might adjust the scope. And while we're talking here, I'm actually going to unscrew the caps off my turrets so that I can have those ready to go. Turn those with my thumbnail or with a screwdriver that I have handy here if need be. But I'm going to unscrew those turrets so I can have access to those. But essentially, shooting this bad boy at 10 yards is just a safety precaution to make sure we're kind of in the ballpark before I stretch out 20 yards. You'll see that I don't have a 30 or 40 yard target here. Once we're done with this live stream, I will put these same targets out there and work with those. I do have other targets, but they're kind of used up. They've been shot a lot. So let's go for 10 yards here. Wish me luck. This is 10 yards, and on a crossbow that doesn't have a 10-yard reticle. Thanks, Excalibur. Boys, talk about a company that's in, they're all doing this, but they're all encouraging you to shoot longer distances. They're just trying to meet consumer demand is what they're doing. I'm going to ease the trigger, the safety up. Remember, we don't flip that up with our thumb because on this crossbow it makes a lot of noise and that will alert deer. So I'm going to try and get in the habit of not doing that. All right, that was dead on at 10, but it has shot about 2 inches high, which tells me that that could be something as simple as brace height, right? So, I'm not going to adjust the brace height. I'm going to adjust the crossbow here. So let's see what we got. And I will go to my reticle here, and we want to adjust up. I don't want to go up. I want to go down. So I'm going to start with 2 clicks down. That arrow, man, that was like 2 inches high. Let's go down considerably. We'll go down 4 clicks. How's that? 4 clicks on the scope, okay? I think that's fair. I think it's a fair way to do it. What do you think? And I'm going to back up here, and I don't have to go looking for my cocking aid because it's in my pocket, and because that's the habit. I'm doing a video for, oh, no, it's tied up in the knot. I'm doing a for Crossbow Appreciation Month here about habits and habits for crossbow hunting, because habit and routine, let's make sure we got that in there seated properly. Pull her up. Habit and routine are big things when it comes to crossbow hunting. They make a big difference. If you're really got good habits and you maintain those good habits, that's different. And one of the things that I do, that's why I put that stringing aid back in my left pocket all the time, because I know right where it is, never looking around for it. And I'm not saying you got to do that. I'm just saying you might want to take into account your, put it in the same place every time, get in the same routine, and that way you'll feel better about it. Now, this shot, I'm going to stick with the 10-yard shot here until we can dial that closer into the bullseye. Then we'll move out to 20. Really, you're sighting it at 20. That's where we're going to start with. That's the most important thing. And important to discuss the overall process here. I will be shooting this again today, stretching it out to 30, okay, maybe 40, to make sure I'm dead on at 20, 30, 40, 10, 20, 30, 40. I'll do that with field points first. Then I'll switch over to broadheads once. I probably won't switch over to broadheads until later in the week, because I want the string to get some time to get the stretch out of it, the creep out of it, because that affects your accuracy. Once that's settled out, then I'll throw on the broadheads and tune it in for those broadheads, and tune it in for a specific set of arrows that seem to fly the same with those broadheads on them. And then I'll just take 3 arrows with me to hunt with, right? So that's probably what I'll end up doing. This is really just to get the string settled, get it in place, demonstrate how I do that, and get step 1 of this process out of the way. Now, that one again, went a little bit high. So what we're going to do, I'm going to flip this bad boy around if I can do that. And hopefully you can still see it. And we'll zoom in a little bit. It's not very zoomed in. That's like the opposite of zoomed in. That's like as widestream as possible. Boy, could I get it farther down in the corner? You guys are like, man, hire a cameraman or something, huh? All right, how we doing here? Got lots of people watching. That's awesome. All right, we're going to try this again at 10 yards. Same 10-yard reticle. I'm going to pull this bad boy down here. And we're going to ease that safety up and get back in the good habit of easing that safety up so that we are not alerting our quarry. And boom! Wow, look at that. The Luminoc lit up. See, the Luminoc only lights up on the good shots, apparently. But we're dead on at 10 yards now is what that is. 2 shots, dead on at 10 yards. What more do you want? Well, I'll tell you what more we want, right? I'll tell you what more we want. What more we want is we want to be dead on at 20, 30, 40 yards. That's what we want. So we're going to do that. The next step is see how we're doing at 20 yards. So I'll cock this again. And just because we're on at 10, again, the reason I'm starting at 10 is only to make sure ballpark. It's not to make sure that it's dead on. It's just to make sure it's kind of in the ballpark. So I'm going to go 20 yards, boom, boom. Pull this bad boy up. And for what it's worth, this is a 175-pound draw weight on this crossbow, right? 175-pound draw weight. And I will be doing this all day. I'd be worn out. Sighting this in, you're taking some Advil at my age. I'm almost 50. Take some Advil when I'm done. Be just fine. But cocking that crossbow, you're lifting 175 pounds every time. A little bit less than that with the cocking aid, with the rope cocker. But it's that kind of thing. You're lifting a lot of weight when you cock this. So, which, you know, it ain't bothering me, but over time it would bother me. So let's look at 20 with a swig of coffee, right? 20 with a swig of coffee. We'll get the field pod back here. Get this bad boy set up. .53 shot 60 bolts yesterday. Holy cow! Hidden Harvest grow lights, 60 bolts. Man, you're like out there pounding them out. That's awesome, man. Okay, we got lots of people talking on here. That's awesome. That's fantastic. So what I'm going to do now, we're going to see if we can flip this around one more time, and we'll see where we're at 20. And I'm going to zoom right in on 20. Let's see if I can see it. Holy cow, man! This phone does not like for me to see what I'm looking at here. Oh, there's 20. Okay. You're looking at my limb and you're looking at the 20-yard target. I think I'm going to be raising the crossbow a little bit. So is my limb blocking it? Oh, the limb is right in the way. To fix that, I will move this out here and see if that helps. And that does not help. All right, let's see what we got. See if I can see it any better. Nope, that's not helping. I might have to move over a little bit. I'm in my own way. Don't worry. We're going to get this. We're going to figure it out. Right here. We're going to move that back. Once I can find that target. All right, now what I'm going to do, we'll see if I can, we're zooming in nice. Technology is awesome, man. When this stuff works, isn't this the coolest thing ever? So, I'm going to move the crossbow over so I'm not in your way. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me okay. But I think now you got a pretty good shot of that target, and I can see the target, and I'm going to look through the scope. Once again, we're going to ease this up. We're going to go right on here, and we're going to put it on the 20-yard right in the center. Ooh, guess what I just did? Wow, you heard that, didn't you? Probably people on here. There's probably people on here right now saying, Rich, you never put an arrow in. Rich, you didn't put an arrow in. What are you doing? And you're right. I cocked it and didn't put an arrow in it. Remember I talked to you. That's what a learning moment this is. A teaching moment. And I might have just put myself out of business. Now, I don't think I did. But I just dry fired this. Right? That's horrible. That's embarrassing. It's awful. But it goes back to what I was talking to you about those routines. This is never, I've done, this is now the third time I've done this ever. And the other times it had more to do with various errors that I made and problems that I had. But You know, it wasn't like, you know, certainly wasn't during a live stream or anything like that. But dry firing it, this will ruin a lot of crossbows, and it can ruin this one for sure. Now I'm looking everything over, and I don't see, and you heard that sound. Did you hear the difference in the sound, the volume of that? How loud that was? I am looking at my limbs, and I don't see any damage to those limbs. I do not see that they are cracked or splintered or anything like that. There is a video on YouTube of a guy with a compound crossbow who, wow, what damage that had. You know, it was just a big old, it looked like a bait caster reel, all like a bait caster reel all spun right up in a big old bird's nest in it. You know, if you've ever had one of those. I can't cast a bait caster reel, but I'm sure that Moose Junction Hunter can do that. She's got the fishing stuff down for sure. But I'm looking this over right now just to be safe, and I don't think I got a problem. I think we're all right. But I'm telling you right now, if you want to have a problem, that's the easiest way to do it. That is the #1 way. And modern crossbows, you don't have to worry about that so much. They have installed devices, anti-dry fire mechanisms, to make sure this doesn't happen. But we're going to make sure that this is safe, and what I'm going to do is very carefully cock it and make sure that we are still in the game here. And I will grab this, put this on there, and I'm going to watch it. I don't see anything happening funny here. All right, boom, boom. We're going to put it on safety, return this right back to our pocket. See, I talk about these routines and I talk about this stuff, and then I don't follow my own advice. I don't see any problems on the limbs, so I think we're safe to fire it. We're going to find out. We're going to find out live. Guess what we're going to do first, though? We're going to take this arrow and put it in here. Didn't I just say something about make sure you don't dry fire your crossbow? Man, that's awful. All right, we're going to find out what happens here. Yeah, do as I say, not as I do. Gary, you got that right. We'll be talking about this in a week, won't we? All right, let's go back to seeing if this will work. All right, now you can see the target. And you can hear my crossbow, and I bet it sounds a lot different this time. Let's see what we can do. 20 yards. We're going to see what we're going to do. All right, I want to show you something here. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but all right. I don't know if you can see this, but you know, this, wow, what a world. I'm telling you. I'm going to walk you out there and wrap up this live stream and show you that shot, but this right here, I just want to tell you, I'm not sponsored by Excalibur, okay? I said this in another video I was just editing. It was one I shot last year, but I'm putting it together for this year's Crossbow Appreciation Month. But I'm sponsored by Bunjie. And I love this crossbow. I just dry fired it. It took me 2 shots to get dead on at 10 after putting on a new string, and you watched me do it. And if you're questioning that, right here is the other string. This is the other string. That's the gray string, right? And this is the green string. So, you know, it is a different string. Here's that first string, and here's the worn out serving. Kind of looks worn out, but I think I probably won't even get that reserved. I don't know. It looks better on there. I just like to have a fresh string to go for our meet and greet, right? But 2 shots, dead on at 10 yards after changing the string. And then what do we got? We got ourselves a 20-yard shot, and I'm going to go out there and show you where that went. So I'm going to take the whole tripod here, look like a traveling carnival. I'm going to flip it around. Are you ready? We're going to walk out there. Okay, what do we got here? Here's our 10s, remember? Our target. That's the 10s. The first shot was about 2 inches high. I cranked it around with my nail, and we got dead on at 10. So that worked out nice. Now we're going to walk out here, and I'm going to show you first. There's my peppers. They're doing really good. And look at this little guy. You guys are like, can we go look at the shot? Who cares about this? But look at that little orange guy. That's a habanero. Can't beat that. But look at this. Check this out. There's my 20-yard shot. 20 yards. Can't ask for much more than that. 20 yards, third shot after restringing the crossbow. So, all right. So there you go. That's what we got. Let's hang out a little bit here, and I'm going to clean up the yard. I'm going to stretch those targets out a little bit, 20, 30, 40 yards, and make sure we're dead on for our upcoming meet and greet. And I want that to go as smooth as possible. So I certainly need the crossbow to be accurate. So how's that? That was pretty good, huh? After dry firing it, it's dead on. I am going to look it over real close, but I think it's fine. I don't recommend that you dry fire it. That does not improve performance of your crossbow. I should put that on a t-shirt, don't you think? Dry firing does not improve the performance of your crossbow. It makes a nice bumper sticker or something. Third shot, Gary Rose. Third shot, fourth trigger pull. Hey, I'll take it. 3 out of 4 isn't bad. That's like a B or something, right? Or C or something. I don't know. That's average. I don't want to make it look too good here or anything like that. I can't believe that. Boy, I'm never going to live that down. Dry firing on a live stream. I said yesterday when I was setting this up, you never know what's going to happen on live stream. That's the nature of live stream. So you guys who watch this, who got up or got around early on a Saturday morning, giving up your time to watch this, that's just, man, is that bad. That's just embarrassing. So hopefully your crossbows are getting sighted in, though, and you're not having any problems like I am, and it's going to work out okay for you. So I really oh man, somebody just commented, the comments go away, so I can't see it, but everybody's saying, but somebody just commented that they joined late and they missed the fun. Go back and watch it. This has been something. So I want to thank you all for joining me. Okay, I can't type on this. I can't really do anything. I want to give you an all hail Bunjie. I'll have to say it, I guess. But and man, that crossbow, I can't tell you that, and this is not an ad for Excalibur at all, because I can't tell you that a modern Excalibur would be the same thing. I can't even tell you that a different Axiom, right? This is a 2010 Excalibur Axiom, and I cannot tell you that they all are going to perform this well or reliably. This one's been babied and catered to and taken, well, I've taken good care of it, so that really helps. But I'm pretty happy with this thing. So yeah, fourth shot, third arrow, and we're doing pretty good. So I hope all your crossbows are shaping up well too. I really hope that you're going to have a great upcoming crossbow season, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Crossbow Appreciation Month. Thank you so much, you guys. I will go through and look at the comments later too. I'll watch this again because I gotta see how can't believe I did this. Thanks again. All right, all hail Bunjie. Thanks a lot.